Hey everyone, welcome to Audio Gear World. So today we're going to talk about Sonible because Sonible has released a new plugin called Smart Comp 2. Now what is Smart Comp 2? Obviously an upgraded version of Smart Comp. Smart Comp 2 is an AI-powered dynamic multiband compressor. Now you can put it on basically any track or bus in your mix, activate the artificial intelligence, and it'll try to come up with some settings that hopefully will make your track or bus sound better. At least it should give you a good starting point from which you can continue editing your mix. And it does so by using a technique they at Sonible call spectral compression, and they explain in the manual what that is. So by continuously analyzing the input signal across more than 2000 bands, Smart Comp 2 acts like an intelligent ultra high resolution multi-band compressor that dynamically smoothens out tonal imbalances. It only applies compression where it's really needed. Now, how does this work? Now, the first thing to do is to come up here and to select a profile. Now, by default, it is set to universal, which should work in most cases. But if you want to have Smart Comp 2 come up with something a bit more specific, you can choose from one of the other predefined profiles, or you can also create and save your own profile. As you can see, it comes pre-installed with a profile for an electric bass. We have a drum bus, some individual drum sounds, and there's also a profile for an acoustic guitar. Now, the track I put this instance of Smart Comp 2 on happens to be an acoustic guitar, so let's select this profile. Now, the next thing to do is to press this button right here, which I call the Learn button. As soon as you press that button, Smart Comp 2 will be waiting for you to feed it some audio. As soon as you start playing music, it will start analyzing that audio, and within seconds it will come up with some settings that it thinks will fit that music best. So let's do that now. Let's press the button and play some music and see what happens. And there you go. Now, as mentioned, Smart Comp 2 will usually give you a pretty good starting point from which you can make some more adjustments, some more tweaks in your mix. So let's take a look at some of the tools that Smart Comp 2 gives us to actually do that. Now, first of all, this is the ratio. This is the threshold. Now here we have the attack. This is the release. Now we can make some adjustments to the attack and release by simply dragging up or down our mouse. But we can also open these windows down here to make some more detailed adjustments. Now this knob down here, this is the style knob. If you turn it all the way to the left, you will get a cleaner sound. If you turn it all the way to the right, you will get a more dirty sound, so to speak. The one in the middle, which is called spectral compression, this simply indicates the amount of spectral compression being applied. And the knob on the right, which is the color knob, if you turn it all the way to the left, the sound will get darker. If you turn it all the way to the right, the sound will get brighter. Now here we have something called Spectral Link. Now how that works is like this. So first of all, we have to set a range for the spectral compression. So by default it is set to 20 to 20,000 Hertz. But let's change that. Let's say that we want the range to be from 466 Hertz to 7,900 Hertz. Okay? Now, anything within that range, spectral compression will be applied to. But what happens to anything outside of that range? So anything below 466 Hertz and above 7,900 Hertz? Well, that depends on the value you set here. So if you set it to 0, then classical broadband compression will be applied. If you change this to 100, then nothing will happen. No compression will be applied. And of course, you can set it anywhere in between. And as you can imagine, it might give you some very interesting results. Now, Smart Comp 2 also comes with some sidechaining options. First of all, to activate that, of course, you need to route the signal from another instrument to be sent here to this instance of Smart Comp 2. And once that is done, you can activate the sidechaining option by pressing this button. And when I do so, you will see that this button, which is by default called spectral compression, will change to spectral ducking. Now, when I turn this knob all the way to 0, then the ducking feature will again start using broadband compression. So whenever the other instrument, which in this case is a bass, is playing, the guitar will be compressed across the entire frequency spectrum. Now, the more I turn this knob to the right, the more I increase this value, the more spectral ducking will be applied. And that means that SmartComp 2 will again start using all those frequency bands, and it will only apply compression when and where it's needed. And that way you will get a much more blended result. So the bass in this case and the guitar in this case will much more be blended, as opposed to one ducking away when the other one is playing. Now, we can also use the sidechain equalizer, which will influence the incoming sidechain signal, which will ultimately also influence how the ducking feature behaves. Now, then there is also a feature called the freeform transfer function, and that allows for compression or expansion of loudness levels below the threshold. Now, you will get a few presets just to get you going, but of course we can move these notes around however we like, so up, down, left or right. By looking at these lines on the left here, you can see that if they're closer together, that's an indication of compression. If they're further apart, that's an indication of expansion. So this is another feature that allows for some detailed and very creative processing. Now, SmartComp 2 also comes with an input writing feature. It also has a mid-side processing feature, surround processing. I think it's safe to say that SmartComp 2 is a very versatile compressor with a lot of features. All right, so in conclusion, so what do I think of SmartComp 2? Now, first of all, obviously, artificial intelligence is a fundamental part of this plugin, just like many other Sonible products. I have to say that as far as I've tested it, the artificial intelligence in SmartComp 2 has given me some very interesting, very usable suggestions. I'm very impressed by that. To be clear, it's not going to mix your song for you. You're still going to be needed to make those final decisions, those final tweaks. But in my experience, it will usually give you a good starting point from which you can make those tweaks and finish your mix. So very impressed by that. Also, I think that it offers a lot of options, to actually make those tweaks, to make those adjustments, so a lot of features, very versatile. It also is pretty easy to use. I mean, it may look a little bit daunting at first when you see it for the first time, but in my experience, it's pretty easy to use. So all in all, I have to say, I would definitely recommend at least checking it out. Okay? So that's basically it for today. Let me say one more thing. There will be an affiliate link in the description. So should you be interested in this product and you want to support the channel, you can use that link at no extra cost to you. Okay? Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you next time.